Hello, everybody, and welcome to another fantastic edition of DialogBOX, the one podcast where we finally answer the question, what is it that they're actually singing in the lyrics to all the Ring Fit Adventure battle themes?
You don't want to know the answer to that question because me and Erica have actually made up lyrics for it.
I know one of them is Sophia. That's all I know.
So the one that's like do 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 like that one, the line the line that we made up for it goes, "Step on me, Dad. Step on me, Dad. Step right on me, Dad." It's really stupid, but that's all we can think about now.
Looks tasty.
So I apologize if I have ruined that game for anybody listening.
I played that game for about 30 minutes, and then I felt like I wasn't going to be able to move for about 3 days after, so I haven't played it since.
I don't own it.
Tried to kill me. Yeah, I've played enough of it where I'm just kind of like, I've made up my own lyrics, but it's just gibberish to me. Like, I know ass drop, set, and that's one of the songs. There's like 5 songs. And I don't understand any of them.
What's funny is that the only reason why I've ever said that online is because we were playing Tetris 99 on stream one day, and we have the skin for that because I love that. I love that skin. I love the music from the game. So I told my community that, and they kind of just lost their minds.
Anyway, I'm your host, Laughingboy LP. If you don't know, I've got tea in my mug this time because I have a huge headache. Apparently, I don't know what it is. I have a headache every Sunday. And I think it's just my body being tired from the entire week.
You know you can use a calendar for that, right?
Yeah.
To like know what day it is.
Well, I guess if he just gets a headache every Sunday, he just wakes up and goes, "Oh, must be Sunday. I've got a headache."
Must be Sunday.
Right, well.
Or like if I just do it the next day, it's like, wait a minute, this can't be right. I can't have a headache 2 days in a row. It can't be Sunday twice.
Then your body figures that out, and then it gets better, and you're like, okay, onward till next Sunday. Let's go.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Yeah, I'll get you on Sunday.
Got migraine Mondays, tension headache Tuesdays.
Wow, this hurts Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Think about
throbbing Thursdays.
Frickin' Friday.
Smooth Saturday. Saturday's the only day.
Okay, good. Saturday's your day off from headaches.
Smooth brain Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah, just
that is like that's my favorite like insult right now, and I'm sorry. It's like whenever you just can't remember anything, it's like, oh, got smooth brain.
Yeah, I got smooth brain.
I need some more ruffles.
Gotta get some more ridges in my brain. I have 3 very lovely guests here today. Right now we've got, I was gonna say like what each person does, but everyone is a streamer and content creator here. So right now I've got Jacob here. Hello.
Hi.
Previously known as CBS. Your central broadcasting station.
Yeah, and I realized that would be terrible to try to make an LLC out of and looked really bad on business cards, so changed it up a little over a year ago.
So it's now secret agent. So then when you hand out your business card, everyone's going like, ooh, he's a secret agent.
I want you to know that I introduced Jacob to my tax professional, and it was back whenever his name was CBS, and he goes, "Oh," and I'm like, "What? Do you know him?" He goes, "No, but God, that name." So
no, if you see the picture, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, they're just having a great time.
He's having a good time.
Oh man.
We've also got the 8-bit drummer Jared over here. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Like I said, this is probably the most we've ever talked. So
I think yeah.
I'm happy that you're here. Also, fun fact, I I think the last 3 episodes I've had somebody from Disc Only Podcast on. I think the last episode I had Tom Fox. Before that I had John. I think if I can get Steven on the next one, then I get my next podcast for free.
Yeah, you get Jules. We just throw him at you afterwards.
What am I doing here?
You just get a family Jules for free, and he's like, "Yeah, what up?"
You got to complete the set.
Sorry, that was more toxic. That was more Jack than Jules, I would say. Yo, dude, let's open up this pit. Come on, bro.
Collect all 5. And finally, we have our favorite person who shows up in every convention picture, Yoshiller.
Hello, humans. I'm Yoshiller, and it is true. You don't realize how many pictures I show up in until you just see in the background. Wait a minute. There's that Yoshi hat again. He's just here. I still get tweeted at occasionally like, oh, hey, Yoshiller's in the background here. And I'm like, that was from 4 years ago. What are you doing looking at images from 4 years ago and then saying, oh, yep, Yoshiller's right there. But thank you for noticing.
It's research. It is research.
Okay, fine.
I'm making a book. Where's Yoshiller?
Let me know when it's published because I'd like to try and get to find myself as well.
Well, I'm sure you'll also want royalties.
Depends on how good the book is. You make more than like $10, yeah, I'll start taking some royalties.
Could you imagine somebody that just like doesn't even sue the makers of the book of how bad it is? It's just like, no, I just don't want to be associated with this thing at all. I just don't want to bring it up.
That's had to have happened at some point, right? Like someone steals someone else's IP, and the original creators of the IP are like, we don't even want to deal with this. Just go away.
I wonder if that's what happened to Star Fox.
Ooh.
Miyamoto's just like, I'm good now.
I feel so bad for Star Fox.
I've
Like everyone
seen
likes the
fan
characters.
games.
They're never gonna do anything with that franchise again because Star Fox Zero and Starlink both bombed. It's like, well, it's been nice knowing Star Fox.
It sure has been. Yeah, I guess what? Star Fox has had 6.5 games. That's
Well,
legacy.
really, when people say they like Star Fox, what they're really saying is they like Star Fox 64 and they kind of maybe like Assault. But I don't think anyone who says they like Star Fox means that they like every game in the franchise, which is kind of sad when you think about it.
That is the most truest statement I've ever heard. Because I was about to go, I too really like Star Fox 64 and kind of like Star Fox Assault, and I forgot about the rest of them.
Now, go ahead.
Oh, I have Command. I've beaten it. I've gotten all the endings, and I will say, it's not really worth it. Although,
No.
if they wanted to make a multiplayer-focused Star Fox game like the multiplayer in Command, I actually think that would sell super well, but they haven't done multiplayer like that since Command, and I just don't really know why, but it's whatever.
Thanks
I
to
just really-
Terminal Montage, every time I think of Fox, all I think about is...
Hiya.
I freaking love Terminal Montage's stuff so much, dude.
It's a good bit. It's a good bit. And now Meta Knight's in on it, which makes me happy.
Yeah, and and freaking Marth too.
Yeah.
they have like a common thing together, and they're like, oh,
Yeah, Fox goes, oh, and they all just start wave dashing in place.
oh man, that season 3 Ender. Oh my god, it was so good. Go if anybody's listening, like whoever's listening to this, like go watch that if you haven't. Terminal Montage's season 3 Subspace Emissary. It's so good.
You heard the man, 12 viewers.
I didn't mean it like that. I meant anybody who hasn't watched that before. I know what I said, and whenever I said it, I was like, oh, that's going to sound exceedingly rude. Oh, well, I guess I'm just going to run with it.
I sure hope Laughingboy doesn't notice and say anything weird.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I'm like, oh man, I really hope he doesn't notice it. I just completely like picked up what I was trying to say.
Nah, it's good. Anytime I get the chance to self-deprecate, I will take it. Deprecate, just so you heard.
Yeah.
So we've got all right. So last time on the last episode of Dragon Ball Z, we talked about convention memories. I had a couple of people in here. It's been a long time. I think actually this is probably the weekend, close to the weekend of PAX East 2020.
Yeah, that was the last convention I ever went to before the world shut down, and it was definitely in February, toward the end of February. So
Yeah,
I
at least
remember.
I remember. I think by the time this episode comes out, it'll probably have been like the week starting of the lockdown, at least for my area. And we had a really good time. I had, Tom, I'm suddenly being put on the spot. Who was in my last episode?
Tom Fox?
God.
It's your podcast. I wasn't there.
Timothy Fox, Sab Irene, Janitor. Yeah, that's right. That was the janitor episode. That was when I was looking for 3 janitors, and I got 3 content creators. So we talked about conventions and convention bathrooms. It's a very important topic. I didn't realize how important a topic convention bathrooms are, but they're very important. Because you spend at least 10% of your time in a con bathroom.
Yeah, like it or not, you're going to use a con bathroom at some point if you go to a con.
10%?
Hey, I don't know if the percentage is that high. But you're gonna use the restroom at least once. Even if you think you can hold it, it's like, nah, you're not going to make it through the day. You got to use a con restroom at least once. And I will say, Boston's pretty good. I think the champion is Seattle. But if we're really getting technical, the champion is not even America, it's Japan, because they have those automatic cleaning toilets with the little water nozzles that can spray your butt. And I think
bidet, yeah.
Yeah, I think those are the cleanest bathrooms I've ever seen. The dirtiest Japanese bathroom is cleaner than the cleanest American bathroom.
Oh, absolutely.
I would like to find out. I do. I have only been to the worst bathrooms.
I'm sorry.
I have not been to the best.
So you've been to E3 is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, and on the I actually talked about it on the last episode where we talked about this kind of thing. I went to a Starbucks in LA, and the regular normal human person bathroom that was in the Starbucks, like the Starbucks looked fine. The bathroom looked like a hurricane had passed through.
Oh God.
And like that whole scene from Dumb and Dumber where it's just like, there's shit everywhere. Well, it was that bathroom. They filmed it in that bathroom.
God. So sorry. I don't know what to
shit
tell
on the
you.
walls.
You think it'd be nicer as you went toward like the nicer parts of town, but it's actually reversed. It's like dirtier than when you get closer to the convention center and stuff.
I mean, I'm born and raised, well, I was born and sort of raised in California, but I will tell you that Los Angeles is a dump.
It's pretty dirty, I'm sorry to say.
You see, you wanted 3 janitors on the last episode. Now you have them on this episode.
That's
so it's
right.
perfect.
I'll clean up my mess. I won't clean up someone else's mess.
Well, yeah, we're all janitors at some point.
So.
I just don't have urinal cakes.
Oh.
Wait, you don't?
Do you need mine? Yeah.
Ew.
Slightly used.
Oh my God.
Like new.
Like
Used in good condition.
4.5 out of 5 star rating.
Freaking love that crap on Amazon, man. You go and try to like get a 3DS or something, and they're like new or used, but in good condition. And I'm like, I don't trust that at all, man.
No, like what's good condition to you? That doesn't have a scratch on it. It better not have a scratch on it. That's what I'm hoping for in the first place.
yeah, why throw things out when there's eBay?
Oh, dude, I used to sell old computer parts. Like I would take apart computers that people wouldn't want anymore because they had bought a new one and I'd set it up. And I'm like, do you want your old computer? They're like, no. So I would literally rip out the guts and sell the stuff on eBay in like batches for like $200 a piece. It was freaking insane.
Hey,
Like you would get
make
more
some
money
hot cash
from the parts. Yeah. Like you would make more money for the parts than you would an actual computer. It's really stupid.
I mean, but I'm not going to complain if I'm the one making the money.
Oh no, exactly. It's a little bit of work, but if you're an IT guy and people are like, I don't want my old computer, it's like, yo, let me recycle that for you. And by recycling, I mean,
I have lunch for the week.
Where do you eat lunch, man? Freaking $200?
Holy shit. DC lunches are so expensive. Like
fair enough.
I'm used to just eating, McDonald's and stuff like that. And that can cost me. I've figured out the average price of a friggin' cheeseburger. So when I go into DC and I have to get lunch when I'm working there, I on average spend between like $13 and $16 for a lunch.
Yeah, that sounds about right. When I was trying to budget myself, I tried to make it like, don't spend more than $15 to $20 a day on food.
Yeah.
And it gets tough. It gets tough because then you're like, well, I don't want to settle for like a $3 hamburger every night. I'm gonna get sick. So you have to really balance yourself. And I don't know what Washington D.C. is compared to. It is like compared to Los Angeles. But I imagine it's not much easier.
If you eat the ramen without pouring the water in, it's almost different.
If whenever me and Erica moved in together, she started like cooking dinners, and we've saved a frick ton of money because I used to eat out like every meal, dude, every single meal. Shout outs to Moe's Southwest Grill.
Welcome to Moe's.
Yeah, like I used to literally eat out every single meal, and Erica is like, yo, let's not do that because like you drum all day and you can keep the weight off. Like her eating out all the time, like it doesn't do well like for her like stomach wise. So we made a deal. It's like I'll go get lunch before the cast, so it's simple and easy. But then for dinner, she usually has something made for me, like because she's the freaking best. She'll do something to where I walk in the door and she's just like, yo, here you go. I'm like, yay. But it saves so much freaking money in the long run. Like it's a little bit of extra work, of course, but yeah, if you're having money trouble from eating out, like seriously, just get some stuff on sale at the grocery store to last you for days.
Oh yeah, that's like the big con of eating is that you think that it's cheaper to just go out and get like a $6 hamburger rather than like buying like a ton of grocery ingredients, but you don't realize that you're actually buying ingredients for like the week,
exactly,
not just for that one meal.
Like you got to, yeah.
The 8-bit drummer's absolutely right. Like that is the cheapest way to eat. But if you lack cooking skills or maybe you don't have access to a good kitchen, might I introduce you to the frozen food section of the grocery store? Because that'll last you. That's been helping me during this pandemic.
Holy, yeah. When we got this new house, we moved in like a couple months ago, and we started using Stouffer's because like you can buy an entire week's worth of lunch for $10, a whole week. So needless to say, I've been eating a lot of microwave lasagna.
Frozen nuggies for me.
Nuggies.
Nuggies. So conventions.
Yeah, we talked about bathrooms and food.
Frozen food. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can actually go out and enjoy ourselves.
I would actually let this go on for as long as I can, but we got to keep the time. But we'll talk about some of our convention memories. I got some topics about conventions. It's basically like the last episode that we did for all of our viewers out there that are wondering what we're talking about. But first off, we'll talk about like the first conventions that we've gone to, like what was our perception of conventions. I've already kind of given my story, so based off the last episode, like my first like conventions were anime conventions, and so I went to like Katsucon and Otakon as like my first two big major conventions on the East Coast. And I had been told about like MagFest from a friend of mine who had been going for a couple of years. So I decided to finally go, and MagFest is basically like maybe 20 minutes away from where I live. So the Gaylords, like, we used to just go there for lunch because they had that Elevation Burger over there. It was pretty nice.
The place is so good.
It's pretty good, and there's a couple of them in our area, but at the time, I think there was only two. It was like that one and then one in Arlington. I started going to MagFest mostly just because I had heard that the TRG goes there. My friend was telling me that it was a good time, so I just decided to finally go. That was actually when I started doing podcasts. Like we actually went to a JonTron panel of all things, and one of the questions that somebody had asked him during the Q&A, his answer was like really kind of inspiring to me at the time. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm not gonna question myself anymore. And so after the TRG panel that MagFest, everyone was out in the hallway. That was like, I don't think they had the rooms yet. Like they weren't doing the meet and greets in the rooms. So everyone was out in the hallway, and I finally was just like, hey, I'm trying to do something where I interview content creators. Do you want to be in? And I was like shaking, like literally shaking in my boots. So So that was actually like the start of me doing these 5 years later. But yeah, that was like some of my initial podcast memories. I'm very much speed running my own answers. But Jacob, what's your deal? What's your story with conventions? What's going on with you?
Oh boy. So believe it or not, my first convention was actually TwitchCon 2018.
Ooh.
So I'm still relatively new to the convention scene.
That was your first one? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was my first one, and
Cool.
it was quite the experience. That was the one where the lines were like a literal metric mile long to get in, and it took
Wait.
several hours to get through the line.
That was San Jose, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Oh, God.
It was. So as a first con experience, that part was a little disheartening, but I got to meet a lot of cool people. And I was like, this kind of stuff is really cool. I'm going to do a lot more of this. And the next year I went to a lot more. I went to Versus Expo. I went to Con Bravo 2019, which was a lot of fun. And then I went to TwitchCon 2019, which was approximately 27,000 times better than 2018's.
Amen.
Got through the line in, 2 minutes, I think? Tops. And I just had a much better time. Hung out with a lot of really cool people, including Jared. And just got to meet a lot of friends. And I think that for me, that was the best part of everything. You know, going to like Fogo and eating like 7 pounds of meat, great experience, sure. But being able to do it with friends, to me, was the best part. And that's why I wanted to go to even more, which is why I went to PAX South at the beginning of 2020. And then, well, you know, had to cancel some ones after that for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Well, if it's any consolation to add on to that, like I think at the different cons that I would have gone to this past year, like in 2020, MomoCon happened the same day of the BLM riots, so we completely missed that bullet, Jacob.
Ooh.
And MagFest happened on the same day of the freaking insurrection in the Capitol, which is right next door to
Yeah.
that area. So if you think about it, it's actually like we get to really be thankful that we didn't go to those, because it would have been way, like, if there's any silver lining to not going to those, is that we missed those really, really world rocking events. So I'm happy that they were canceled, because man,
I am looking forward to stuff in the future, of course.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me three.
Jared, what's going on with you? What has been your experience with conventions and the first conventions you've been to?
Well, I freaking love conventions, first of all. They are basically my vacation, because of the fact that I don't really miss out on streams or whatnot. I try to keep it to 4 days a week. But they're a great time off, you know? And it's like, I feel good taking that time off. Like, sometimes streamers don't really want to take time off because they feel like, oh, they're missing out or whatever the heck. I'm more of, instead of that, I'm more of a businessman. I like being predictable. And, reliable is a better word than predictable, I guess. But anyways, my first convention, was TwitchCon. I can't remember what year it was. The first TwitchCon, actually. It was the first TwitchCon. And, I remember where I was when I decided that I wanted to go to. I was actually doing IT work for a company that I could not frickin' stand. It was I was doing my own work. I was being a contractor out to another company, and I was sitting there trying to get an antivirus installed on this person's computer. And while I was there, I'm like, you know what? Let me look and see. Cause I had started streaming about 3 or 4 months before, TwitchCon, the first TwitchCon happened. I'd started streaming, and I had gotten partnered like shortly after that. So I was like, oh, well, frick, why not? Let's go to a convention. I want to do it. I want to give it a try. So I looked, and PAX South was gone. PAX East was already done, all that stuff. And then TwitchCon was coming up. I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. Why not? So I got me and my buddy Homick and Kyle all on a plane to TwitchCon together. And, the first TwitchCon was, really wonderful. Met up with Jules for the first time. I used to, like, it was funny because like I was like a puppy dog. I had never met him before. I was a really big fan of his, and now like it's funny because we're just friends now. And like I ended up meeting him on the second day of the convention, and we played Rock Band 4 and stuff like that. We got to hang out. I was at his concert the day before. And it was just a really, really good time. Like the first TwitchCon was really fun for me. And ironically, Erica, my wife, she was actually at that convention hanging out with Danny Baranowski and Jules whenever I wasn't hanging out with Danny Baranowski and Jules. So we may have seen each other on that first convention day or that first convention time, and we didn't know. The second convention that I ever went to was MagFest. Jules got me to go, and I met Erica there on my first trip to MagFest, and I mean, it's history at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like that going to TwitchCon the first time, meeting Jules and becoming friends with him changed my life in a really crazy way. So conventions have been super, super, super important to me. Because I mean, I met Erica at Mag, and then the day after our wedding, we drove down to Atlanta for MomoCon, like after our wedding 3 years ago. So it's like they've been kind of ingrained in us. Like we love conventions.
That's a really cool story. Also, I gasped because I was like, I love Rock Band. So,
dude, oh my God, Rock Band 4 had just came out, and they had like a big thing, like a big stage for it. So everybody was going on stage playing. I got to play with like Azurite Reaction, who's really good at drums.
Oh my God.
And, dude, I love Azurite, man. He's such a good dude.
Oh my God. That freaking takes me back. Just that name.
Cause like I was actually in line for Rock Band 4, and he was standing directly in front of me. And I go, oh frick. Excuse me, are you Azurite Reaction? He goes, oh my God, 8-bit drummer, what's up? And I'm like, how do you even know who I am? Like,
oh yeah, it's you.
Like what the frick? So we hit it off, and we were playing. He's just he's super nice, man. Like, I haven't really been able to hang out with him recently, but yeah, like we ended up meeting up there, played Rock Band together. It was just, man, it was a good time. Freaking the first TwitchCon was fantastic.
I didn't even know he was still doing stuff. I haven't checked that name out since he started doing Let's Plays, I think. That was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, dude. He's been around for a long time. He goes in and out, I do believe. I can't remember though. I haven't checked up on him in a little while either.
Yeah, I think he was one of the first people I saw that was playing. I think he was one of the first people I saw playing LSD, the PlayStation game.
Oh yeah.
And that was the first time I had heard about it. But before that, yeah, there was like a small community of like Rock Band YouTubers, and I was like uploading vocal covers, and I remember him and like two other people that were doing like their own. So I think he did drums, right, mostly, and
yes.
Yeah, and I knew a couple other people whose names I can no longer remember, but they did like bass full clears, and I think I found another like vocalist. But yeah, it was, God, man, that's nostalgic.
That's a blast from the past right there, man. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, man. Yoshiller.
Yes, sir.
What about you?
I'm very fortunate in the sense that I can say that every convention I've attended, except for one, changed my life for the better. That had I not gone to conventions, I would not be where I am now. I would not know the same people that I do now. I would not have the same opportunities that I do have now. Every convention has positively benefited my career, and I'm very, very grateful for that. It's very difficult to actually determine like which one had the biggest impact on me, but I guess technically the one with the biggest impact was PAX East 2015. That was my first time going to a PAX East, and at that one convention alone, I had a YouTube contact that would eventually get me verified on YouTube. I pretty much had my first working with Nintendo at that convention, and also that was the year that the Runaway Guys had their Smash Wii U tournament, where I was the runner-up of the tournament, and I got to meet a bunch of people through that as well. So that convention was probably the one that would set the precedent, set the bar for other conventions to follow going forward. And sure enough, like the bar has been met and has been sometimes shattered even in other situations. Technically, the first convention I ever went to was E3 2012, but the thing with that was I didn't go as Yoshiller, so to speak. I went under someone else's pass, and I only went on the last day, and I was only there for like a couple hours. So I don't know if that really counts, but that was my first convention. The first major convention after that, no, that would still be E3 2013. Okay, so E3 2014 was the one where I finally started wearing my Yoshi hat, and I went on the news, and Nintendo started to see who I was, and so on and so forth. And I've got all sorts of convention stories, but rather than hogging all the podcast time right now, I think I should let some of the other people speak. But conventions have always been very good for me, and I would love to go to more conventions in the future once they open back up.
I think that's kind of the emphasis for everyone here. It's like we're really just itching to get back. And it's kind of a weird feeling too, because I know that like as soon as the doors open for conventions again, even though I'm just kind of like, I really want to go back, I feel like I would still be hesitant, you know? Like there's going to be moments of hesitation.
Look, I for as much as I want conventions to come back, I'm not just going to go head rushing into it. Like I will take my cautionary steps as well. I know that I think PAX East is trying to open up in June of this year. And it's like, I don't know, man. We're about a year into this pandemic, and I don't really... We thought the pandemic was going to be over in, like, July of last year. And obviously that didn't happen. So I don't know if it's going to be done in July of this year. But we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not going to any conventions this year. Like, until I get the vaccine, of course. Like, I'm not doing anything until the vaccine hits where I'm at. But I probably, whenever I do go to the next one, it'll probably be MomoCon of next year. Barring anything crazy. But I will probably wear a mask the entire time I'm there. Sure. Just because of the fact that, like, masks seem to be a good idea.
Well, the thing was, in 2020, that was going to be the year where I was going to do all the conventions. Because normally,
right?
Yeah, normally I was only going to do, I normally only do E3 and PAX. Those are the ones I do. And I was going to be like, all right, I'm going to hit them all. I'm going to do MomoCon, and I'm going to do too many games, and I might even do TwitchCon. I didn't care where it was. I was just going to go. That was going to be like my investment for the year. And so the year started off, and I went to EVO Japan, and then I went to PAX East, and then the world shut down. And I'm like, are you serious? The year where I'm going to do this? All right. I should consider myself lucky that I was even able to do those two events. But obviously the pandemic threw a wrench into most people's plans. But it's just like, really? Couldn't hold off on this for like one more year? All
Dude,
right.
like last year was going to be like my busiest year. Like, no freaking joke, dude. It was, oh man. We had, I think, 10 different trips lined up, including a trip to Canada to hang out with Erica's parents and godparents. But yeah, dude, what's really funny is like we had all of it planned out. We had everything good to go, and we knew like exactly how much money we were going to spend and everything. So instead of that, we just stayed home, streamed, and now we've saved up, everything that we were going to spend. We've saved it all up, and we're going to be, utilizing that later on. It was actually a really good year for like, for growth, like overall, like online and in personal lives too. Because I tell you what, 2020 made us a lot freaking stronger, dude. Like,
You're not wrong about that.
Yeah, you kind of learned about who you can really depend on, and that's, family, friends, and yourself. But I 100% like and once again, I try to look at the positives of everything. Like, it's a hard year, dude. Like, legitimately, it was a freaking hard year for a lot of different reasons. Not just even that. There was a lot of stuff going on. But like, we definitely came out of it stronger. Like that's the main thing for me.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that like there's a lot of us that for me, almost everyone here that I talk to, I mean, I have close friends, people who are actually legitimately, proximity-wise, they are close. Everyone else I have to talk to online, and a part of me has been kind of struggling with that. I'm very introverted, so it's hard for me to see whether or not I'm being too much or if I'm being not enough with certain individuals. But I've had to really push through that because I don't really have any other option. Like, I either talk to people online and I try to get busy with these kinds of projects that help me do some more like networking and put me in more social situations. Otherwise, it's like a muscle. Like, my ability to communicate with others is like a muscle. And if I don't work it out, then it just atrophies, and it's much more difficult for me to get back into it. So I'm hoping that with all these things that I can to talk to more people, and like everyone in this room has not been on something that I've done on my channel before. Well, besides me, but everyone else, like this is the first time everyone's been here. And so I've been really challenging myself this year in particular to bring new people onto the channel, and not just for the channel's purpose, but for me. It forces me to get out of my comfort zone and to ask people like, hey, do you want to like hang out and talk about conventions for an hour to 2 hours? Not necessarily expecting a yes, and just being able to accept the negative responses, or, you know, just like not bad responses, just, but like, I can't do it, sorry. But also just to, you know, once all this is put in place, then I'm hoping like once we go back to conventions that I'll be able to hang out with y'all in person. So that's like a big thing for me. Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, we gotta roll with the punches for now, you know?
Yeah.
And dude, oh my God. The day that we were able to go to the convention, the next one though, oh man, the next convention is going to be freaking lit. It is going to be a party and a half, man. I'm already excited about it. Like, yeah, we got to wait a little while, but like all this like built up energy for a con is going to just go nuts, man. I'm excited. Yep. And that's going to be the best part, is everybody's going to be excited, and it's going to be a really fun time because of that. Like, oh man, it's going to be good.
You know that scene from Avengers Endgame where all the heroes show up and they're ready to fight Thanos? It's going to be that.
For some reason, I thought you said...
Except everyone's storming the Gay Lord.
Yeah. I thought you said Infinity War for a moment, and I'm like, wait, no.
That scene in Infinity War where Thanos snaps his fingers and half the universe
no, not that
dies.
scene. Oh, frick. That's what for some reason, that's what popped in my head, and I'm like, wait, that's the wrong scene.
Spoilers, by the way, for one of the most famous movies in history right now. So sorry.
Well, just like in real life, somebody wasn't feeling that good.
Oh my God.
Yeah, people could not stop trying to spoil that movie the first week. Anyway, we can talk about some stories. Let's talk about our favorite convention stories. We'll kind of merge like two topics together. We can talk about our favorite and weirdest, because I'm sure they're probably both.
Ooh. Can I start this one?
Do it.
Yes, you may.
Okay. So I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again because I am somewhat proud of myself. So for those that don't know, I like to compete. I don't win very often, but I'm like that dumb dog with the smile on his face that thinks he can take down the big dog, and then I get the snot beaten out of me, and then I just get back up. I'm like, all right, let's do it again, and then I go again, and I lose again. So
most shonen protagonists.
Exactly, except I don't have a redemption arc, and I don't get stronger at the end. But in any case, E3 2017 was the first year in which E3 was reopened to the public. Prior to that, between like 2002 and 2016, it was a privatized event, and I'd been attending it since 2012. So when they announced that it was going to be open to the public in 2017, I was a bit worried, because to me, the whole point of attending E3 was for the fact that it was private. You felt like you were an elite, and it's a very selfish reason to want to go to E3, I totally acknowledge. But that's why I liked going. I like to have that sense of selfish superiority in some cases. Like, I earned my way in here. But there was a plus side to E3 being open to the public, and that was the fact that Nintendo decided to host a bunch of tournaments that year. Now, these 3 tournaments were for Splatoon 2, Pokken Tournament, and ARMS. And the Pokken and Splatoon 2 tournaments were invite only. They flew out a bunch of influencers like JD Witherspoon or Andre the Black Nerd and Game Theory. Although I think all 3 of them live in California, so maybe those are terrible examples, but I digress. They were all invited to E3 to participate in these tournaments or to commentate them or something. But the ARMS tournament, that was open to the public. And in order to qualify for that, you had to show up first thing Wednesday morning, wait in line, and have your chance to compete. So I got up Wednesday morning, went straight to the convention center with my friends. We were at the front of the line, ready for the doors to open. The doors were open. I go straight to the ARMS section, and they say, sorry, the line's capped. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, if we had to cap the line at some point. There's too many entrants right now, and it's gonna take all day. Sorry. And I was like, but I was at the front of the line. I went straight here. There's no possible way that it could be capped right now. And they're like, well, it is. And then I was stubborn, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna wait behind the guy holding the sign saying the line is capped. And he's like, you can't do that. I said, what if one person gets out of line? Can't I just then go inside the line? Because then it'll still be the same amount of people. And he kind of just rolls his eyes and says, okay, fine. So I wait behind him. And eventually I am allowed to go on the line. And it does take all day. And while I'm waiting in line, different people walk by and say, hi, what are you doing? And I say, oh, I'm waiting for the arms tourney, yada, yada, yada. Okay. One of the people flown out to E3 was a high-ranking competitive Super Smash Bros. Player by the name of Nairo. And he asked Nintendo if he was allowed to play in the tournament, and they said yes. And they put him right in front of me in line, which is not only a slap in the face for me, who was barely put in the line in the first place, but it also means that if I want to qualify for this tournament, chances are I'm going to have to play against Nairo. Because the way that the qualifications worked, as I found out when I was in line, was that you had to basically win 6 matches in a row. Your first match was a one-on-one with some other person in line. Then, the next 5 matches you would play would be done King of the Hill style. So you would keep playing until you lost. And whoever beat you would then become the King of the Hill and would have to win 5 matches and so on and so forth. And the first 8 or so people to win 6 matches in a row qualified for the tournament. So, I would have to win 6 times in a row and probably beat one of the top Super Smash Bros. Players in the world in order to qualify for this tournament. Also, in waiting in line all day, I had to pee. And I couldn't get out of line, so I just had to hold it. And we're getting real close, and I'm vlogging myself, and I have footage of all this, and I'm like, I'm like falling apart here. I'm so close. I've been waiting here all day. If I leave now, it's a waste of a day, so I just have to suck it up, hold it in, and get ready to play. Doesn't help that the entire tournament for this game is done with motion controls, where if you want to punch with the character's left arm, you use your left arm. You want to punch with the character's right arm, you punch with your right arm. So finally, it's time for me to compete, and I'm like jumping up and down, trying to hold it in, carrying these Joy-Cons in each hand, and I'm punching and I'm flailing my arms, and I beat my first opponent, so then I go over to the King of the Hill. And, of course, my next opponent is Nairo, who at this point has beaten like 3 or 4 people. And I go up against him, and it's close, and we have footage of it, and I beat him, and it was awesome. And then, because I beat him, he was like, well, I'm going to get all of my Twitter followers to root for you, because if you beat me, well, now you got to be the guy to go and win the whole tournament. And I said, okay, I'll do that. So he gets the whole crowd of people just start showing up, and they see me jumping up and down, trying not to pee my pants, and everyone's just like laughing, like saying, who's this guy with the Yoshi hat, jumping up and down, flailing his arms all over the place, beating everybody? What the heck is going on? And I get to my final match, and it's against another YouTuber, a Pokemon Go YouTuber named Reversal. And I guess he knew who I was at the time. At the time, I didn't really know who he was. And he played Twintel, and he did defeat me. And so I was like, all right. I gave him a hug, and Nintendo gave me some goodies for participating. Because I guess if you won at least 2 rounds, you got a t-shirt. So I still have that ARMS t-shirt that they gave me. But then also, as I was walking out, some Nintendo representatives came over, and they're like, hey, you had quite a crowd of people watching you. I said, oh yeah? That's cool. And they go, yeah, because you were very close to qualifying, and because you seem to be a fan favorite, do you want to come to the VIP section of Nintendo tomorrow? And I was like, I would love to, but I really got to go to the bathroom right now, so can I write down like a phone number or something? And they're like, oh yeah, sure, here's the card, here's the phone number. And I was like, great! And then I ran off, used the restroom, and the following day I got to hang out at the Nintendo VIP area, and it was awesome.
Very nice.
Thank you. And so I have that ARM shirt as a trophy. And although I didn't get to enter the tournament, it's nice knowing that I was still able to do something pretty cool that day, despite all my stubbornness.
That's the greatest story I've heard about ARMS.
For the record, I used Min Min in that tournament. So imagine my excitement when Min Min came to Smash. It was like, that's the character I used! So,
that's my baby!
That's my girl!
I guess I can go next. There's actually a story that I haven't really told. I have a couple of stories I've probably told at some point. I have a list. But there's one story I haven't really told because I don't want like a friend of mine to feel bad, but it's okay. So it was actually that very first MagFest where I got to meet up with TRG, and everyone was kind of standing in their own. I don't know if you've been to a TRG after the Throne Controllers panel, and if it's ever one of the ones where they're hanging out in the hallway, it's usually one person in a circle, another person in a circle, another person in a circle, and so everyone kind of has like their own quadrant. So I'm talking to each individual person separately to kind of be like, hey, this is who I am, and I'm trying to do this thing on my YouTube channel. And I was like really nervous. So my friends who wanted to try and be helpful were just kind of like walking with me, so I didn't like crumble into a tiny little ball. But the moment I started talking to Misei, this is the very first conversation that I'm having with her. And, I do my whole thing. I talk to her about this thing. She's like, oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, like, let me know after the convention. And as we're talking, she's holding up a bunch of stuff. I can't remember I think it was a picture of an Espeon. Like, I think it was Espeon. One of my friends who kind of walked up to us after I had started talking up with Misei decided to let her know that, oh, well, that, like, Glaceon is, like, the way better Pokemon competitively.
Hot!
And interrupted me during this conversation. And she kind of looks at him like, who are you? But she said, like, oh, this was a gift from a fan. And I wanted to die. I was just sitting here going, like, I literally was about to turn to him and be like, who are you with? Like, do you know anybody else here? You're definitely not with me, right? Like,
that person's
you're
also
completely
wrong. Espeon gets access to Magic Bounce, making it more competitive than Glaceon. I don't know what world this person's in, but continue.
It was either Leafeon or Glaceon. I don't remember fully the story. I just remembered the moment where I felt like my entire world was crashing down. No, I was just like, oh my God, this is the one time I really don't want you to be a neckbeard right now. And you are being such a neckbeard.
Also, Vaporeon's better because frick you.
Yeah. I do know that you like Vaporeon.
Darn right.
But I was like, just read the room. Read the room. I don't care who's
So
better.
was that your friend who did that, or was it just
one of my
rando?
friends? It was one of my friends.
Oh God, nice. Like, what do you do?
So
what do you even do in that situation?
I literally just like I tried to play it off. I was just kind of like pretending to be like, you are making me look so bad right now. Like I was just trying to be cool, but at the same time, I'm like, we are gonna have a word later. So that was one of the stories that, especially like from the first MagFest. I actually have another story where I sing Monster Rancher with the two best friends, but I'll let somebody else go first, because that's actually just the story.
Well, I've got a interesting one, and then I guess you could call it a convention tradition. I have a tradition that is completely unintentional and completely out of my control, but I always get sick at every convention I've ever been to except for the very first one. I've gotten food poisoning at 3 conventions. The first one was from Medieval Times, of all places. I was with Josh Jepson, Firelord Brooke, and Attacking Toucans. We were all eating at Medieval Times, and Brooke and I both got food poisoning, but Josh and Tyler did not. And so Brooke and I were just laid out for like 2 days, couldn't do anything. It was awful. And then trying to think of, I know I got food poisoning at a second one, but I can't remember which one it was. And the most recent one was actually PAX South, which was early 2020. I had some bad sushi, and yeah, it was bad. But as far as interesting stuff goes, in TwitchCon 2019, I was planning on meeting up with a friend that I'd known for a little while, and we ended up like missing each other at the place we were going to go. I was there early and she was there late, so we just kind of missed. And we're like, oh, well, we got to do something else sometime. And so like the next day, she messages me and she's like, hey, me and my, I believe they're married now, so husband are gonna have brunch. You're invited. You want to come? I'm like, yeah, sure. I thought it was just going to be like the three of us. And I show up and there's Jared and Erica.
Yeah, dude, that was a good meal.
And I'm like, oh no, because I've got really bad social anxiety too, and I'm like freaking out. And Jared and Erica are just happy. They're just like, oh, it's Jacob, and hugs and everything, and everybody's having a good time. And I'm like, okay, I can handle this. It's fine. And then Jules shows up with Adrian. I'm like, oh no. And then I think it was it Chugga Conroy that showed up after that, and I'm like,
Yeah. So
and then just more and more people, and I'm freaking out, but I can't say anything, so I just look all stoic and everything, but inside I'm just screaming for hours on end.
dude, me and Erica still think about that meal, and we were like, man, we really got Jacob to meet a lot of people. Ever since Jacob has met me and Erica, we have put him so far out of his comfort zone. It's hilarious. And we don't mean to. It's just like we love Jacob, and we want to show people like how, wonderful he is to actually hang out with and stuff, because like he's not going to come to you because that's just who he is, But like, and that's how I met him, was through Homic. Homic actually introduced me to Jacob, and I'm just like, oh, I like this guy. He's good.
This is a good guy.
That was a meal and a half, dude.
Yeah,
oh my God.
I find it funny because one of the people at that meal, at least I believe, was Del Cake.
Yep.
And at the time, I didn't really know who he was. And I had another meal later where it was Del, Jared, Erica, myself, one of my friends, and there was somebody else there, but I can't remember who it was. It was in the hotel restaurant.
Yeah. Who was the sixth person? I think it was just me, you, Del, and your mod, right? And Erica, of course.
I swear there was one other person there, but maybe there wasn't. But again, at the time, I didn't know Del like at all. But now I know him really well. We talk a lot. We, Final Fantasy 14 stuff, of course. And it's just so interesting to me that most of the people that I interact with that are part of my community, part of Twitch, part of just online stuff, I usually meet online and then in person. But with Del in particular, it was completely backwards. I met him in person first, and I'm like, I don't know who this is. I don't want to talk to this person.
I mean, that's how I was with Erica too. Like I met her in person and then online afterwards.
I was going back to you trying to get Jared, you trying to get Jacob out of his comfort zones, and it reminds me of the conversation that Sab Irene we were having at the last episode, and she was talking about how like, oh, you and Jared and Sab both have this like back and forth about paying each other back for things.
So
and I came up with the term malicious kindness.
Yep.
And that kind of fits this story as well.
That right there. Oh my God, dude. Like, yeah, that started with me and Jason Paradise. Me and Jason used to go back and forth, and it was freaking funny. But like, I like to, if I can, treat my friends to a good time. And it's just been like me and Sab, for some reason, Sab has just come at me, and I'm like, I'm just gonna freaking keep doing it, right? And I'll tell you who else has gotten me is Bonds the Bard. Bonds sent me a $25 gift card through the mail so that he could pay for my freaking meals at Moe's for the next couple of days. Aww. And that made me exceedingly upset, so I bought him a 1 month subscription to Final Fantasy 14.
Oh, sweet.
That'll show him. But yeah, oh man, I love it.
So I want to keep to time, but I feel like we have a lot more stuff to talk about. Do we want to maybe continue this at another point?
Sure, I'm down. It seems like we were just scraping the surface of all the things we had to discuss.
So do we want to do maybe a part 2? We'll meet up again at another time.
That works for me. Absolutely.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm trying to get Erica up here to tell a story from a con, which is her favorite story, but she's not answering her phone right now.
And I was actually going to tell a story that was similar to how, like, when you first met Chugga. Yeah, well, my it's not my first time meeting Chugga, but it would have been my first time meeting all the other people in the group. So it would have been similar.
And it's really cool though, like whenever you meet up with people who you've kind of looked up to online for a long time, and like it's so funny though, because like if you're just being yourself and having a good time, it's amazing like how far those interactions can go. And I mean, case in point, like I'm really happy to be able to call myself friends of like John and them, because they're just cool, right?
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that I've been able to like have that type of friendship relationship with him, because I've been watching John since Kaizo and Don't Eat the Mushroom, like that, like, oh my God, that it's been so long, but it's really, and now the weird part is the weirdest part is like switching up that, yo, I'm a fan, to, hey, I'm their friend, you know, like that right there was kind of a hard thing for me, because I'm a really intense individual, and like that it's just something that's really hard for me. Hello, sweetheart. Hi. So okay, so I do have a little bit more time, but I gotta let y'all listen to the story, Erica's favorite con story, from her mouth, because she tells it perfectly.
All right, Laughingboy LP, you can edit all this accordingly.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on in.
Hello.
Hello.
There we go. Okay, he had the wire wrapped all the way around his chair. All right, so hi guys.
Hello.
And gals, I'm not sure who's in here.
We're all dudes in here. Pretty sure.
All dudes. All right.
Don't judge.
So Jared and I met at MagFest, which is a music and gaming convention. It's a great convention. 5 years ago?
5 years.
5 years ago. And we met because we were both friends of Family Jules. And Jared had met Jules at the past TwitchCon. I'd known Jules for years at this point. And Jules says to both of us separately, you know, hey, this con's great, you should come. Not like with any intention to set us up or anything, just he wants all of his friends to go because it's a great con. So we're both sort of hanging out with Jules, and we meet and we kind of like hit it off and, you know, just have fun together the whole weekend. And Jared had to leave first because he had to drive back and I was flying out. So I went up with him just to like get his stuff and, you know, whatever.
Now, let me preface this with, my God, I had fallen for this girl really hard. I had bought a t-shirt for her. I was like, man, I really, really enjoy being around her. And it was good. But
Hold
here
on.
we go. Here.
And let me say, Jared is incredibly obvious about this. I am fully aware of where he's at this point. Like, if you know Jared, he doesn't exactly hide his emotions. Uh-huh. And so I knew exactly where we were at with that. Anyway, so we're waiting for the elevator to go back down. And as we're waiting, he's being super sweet. And he's just being like, you know, I had a great weekend with you. And I was like, yeah, me too. And he's like, you know, you're really funny and you're fun to be around. I was like, oh, thank you. And he's like, you're nice. I was like, oh, thank you. That's really sweet. But I would never date you. Out of the blue, we weren't talking about it. Just, I would never date you.
It hurts.
And I think I actually went, thank you. Wait, that's not a thank you. And he goes, come here and get a picture. And he like, just
classic misdirect.
But yeah, so that's the story of how my husband would never date me.
I married her instead.
Dude skipped the bases and went straight for the home run. I respect that.
Skipped the bases and went straight for the home run.
God bless.
Every time he walked up to the plate, he just kept pointing for the bleachers.
We always say that we know God exists because the fact that Jared is married is a miracle.
That's great.
Yeah, that is my favorite story. I told it at the wedding to raucous laughter because it was mostly Jared's family at the wedding and our friends. So they really liked that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I told y'all that she would tell that story way better than me.
It's very sweet.
Anyway, I'm giving you guys back to Jared now.
Thank you.
No, that was a great story.
That story hurts my soul, Laughingboy. You have no idea. I am the most awkward motherfucker on the face of the planet.
Do you think you'll ever make it up to her? You think
I hope I have. I hope I still have a shot. We're living together.
It'd be so awkward. That's just anime.
Oh my God.
Like you have that moment and then like something weird happens and then she's like, I gotta move in. Oh no. What do I do?
Oh man. Dude, that's her absolute favorite story. Like 100%. Cause like that actually freaking happened because I So let me also preface this, and I know we got to get going, but let me preface this with I had just gotten out of a really bad relationship about maybe a year before, and I was like, I wasn't really looking for another relationship. So what I was trying to say was I really don't want to ruin a friendship with a relationship, because that's basically what happened before. But what came out of my mouth was that, and
But
I
what
never looked
said-
back. I'll tell you what. Oh God, I hate it. I hate that story, but I know she loves it, so I thought it would be a good thing to end off on.
I think it's sweet. Her
That's-
favorite story involves you.
Yeah. Involved your rejection.
Shut up, Yoshiller.
Saying. Look, I'm a sucker for romance stories, I guess. I just think it's sweet, that's all.
See, the beautiful thing about it is that I'm really glad that she enjoys a challenge, because I told her no, and she was like, "Oh, we'll see about that." Oh man.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna reconvene and talk some more shop about convention stories. We'll try and figure out when that'll happen. But for the viewers out there, we're gonna take a little break. We'll be back, and we'll continue talking about conventions. If you like everything you're seeing so far, definitely go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the bell if you want. That's whatever. If you want to hear a little ding noise, it doesn't make it, so I don't even see the point in clicking the button. But we'll be back with some more convention talk. This has been DialogBOX, and we'll be back. I don't know how to. I still am pretty okay at it. I'm getting better.
Give this man support. He put all this together. Give this man
You got-
money.
I wouldn't. Yeah, there we go. That's the money line.
See,
Yeah.
look, it's not selling out if somebody else does it for you. They're laughing.
Like,
I'm
subscribe,
learning
and
so
comment
much today.
The Laughingboy.
Ooh.
That's what I've been doing wrong all these years.
Well, yeah. What I gotta do is I gotta be like those radio stations where every time they bring a guest on, they have to hold them for 5 minutes to be like, okay, now say our radio name in different ways so that we can put you in our commercials.
You're listening to
God.
Laughing Boy. DialogBOX.
I'm gonna make so much money off of your IP.
Welcome to DialogBOX.
Ooh, I didn't even have to pay for that. You're just-
I'm Yoshiller, and
You'll
you're
be-
listening to DialogBOX.
You'll be getting a check in the mail. God dang it!
Yes,
I'm paying you.
I win in Trump bucks again.
Oh.